Today we are going to talk about performing a CTS service on a SaniServ machine. So a CTS stands for check, test, and start. So first we'll discuss why we perform this service. First off, it confirms that the machine is operating to factory specifications, so that when the end user gets the machine, it is functioning properly and as intended. It also confirms the installation date and starts the manufacturer's warranty. This is very important. If someone does not have a CTS service performed, there is no warranty on the machine. And finally, it ensures proper training and operation of the machine by the end users. And that's also a large part, to make sure the end users get trained and that they know how to operate the machine correctly. So today we are going to look at this SaniServ machine. It's a model 401. It is a soft serve machine. It's air-cooled, 208, 240, single-phase unit. It does have a drink spinner on the front there. That's just an accessory, so what you see in the field may or may not have that. This unit is very comparable to the vast majority of our machines in that it has a 5-inch barrel, and the dasher, faceplate, and all the internal components would be very similar, no matter if it's a soft serve machine, shake machine, or a frozen beverage machine. The other machines that we make are similar in how they operate, however, could be small differences. Example, the faceplate may look different, the dasher may be different, or the consistency control may be different as well. If you run into one of those machines, you can always look in the operator's manual for instructions of how to properly assemble or operate that machine. The operator's manual is included in every machine in the mix pan in the top. Before you actually go out and perform the CTS, there are some prerequisites that need to happen. First and foremost, you need to call ahead and speak with the actual customer who has the machine. You need to make sure that the machine has arrived at the location and that it has been uncrated and installed. You need to make sure that electrical service has been connected to the machine and that it's on a properly sized, dedicated electrical circuit. The customer needs to have running water available for sanitizing the unit, and they also need to have the correct product mix on hand and available. This is very important because if you do not have mix, you cannot run the machine. After all that is set up, you need to set a time and date for the CTS and make sure they have the staff available for training. We prefer two to four key operators, but at a minimum, one person needs to be there. Once you are actually on site and ready to perform the CTS, you will find this form, the Check, Test, Start Warranty form, is located inside the manual, which is in the top of the mix pan. This is what needs to be filled out in its entirety and returned to us here at SaniServ for payment. Okay, now that we are ready to actually start the CTS, the first thing you want to do is inspect the machine. We want to do a walk around here, make sure all the panels are on tight, that nothing is loose. You want to make sure that the machine has proper clearance. We ask for at least 6 inches on all sides of the unit for air-cooled machines. That will let the machine properly breathe and cool itself. With water-cooled machines, they do not have to have that clearance. As we come around here, we already took this side panel off, so we can do an internal check. Basically, we're looking for anything that looks out of the ordinary, like belts that have fallen off or are way too loose, pulleys that are loose, make sure the motor's in there tight, and then basically everything looks like it's good. There's no wires hanging off and there's no shipping damage internally. At this point, you can put the side panels of the machine back on and actually start training the customer on how to operate the machine. First thing we like to do is go through the parts of the unit. So at the top here we have the mix pan lid. This is insulated on an ice cream machine and shake machine, uninsulated on a frozen beverage. It's very important they have the lid on at all times the machine is operational to keep the product in the mix pan at its proper temperature. Next we have the carb tube. This is used on all soft serve and shake machines. It must be installed as it helps to thicken the product up. And it just slides in the mix pan in a hole like this with an O-ring on it and installs like that. Next we have the magnetic mix pan agitator. This is a two-piece system with a spinner and a pedestal, and it snaps in like this with a magnet. This spins when the machine is operational to keep the product in the mix pan turning and keep it mixed up and also chilled. On the other side of the mix pan, we have this nub here, which is the mix out sensor. Product must be above the mix out sensor for the machine to operate properly. It's also very important that the customer cleans this when they clean their machine, because any buildup on this can affect performance. Moving on to the front of the machine, we have the faceplate assembly. So I'm going to start disassembling this faceplate to show you how it all goes together. First, we have the two knobs here on the left and right. You just unscrew those counterclockwise. You want to always screw and unscrew these at the same time. If you tighten one side down or loosen one side up and then the other, it can possibly crack the faceplate. This whole assembly is pulled off. Now we have our faceplate assembly. To take this apart, you pull the pin, fast pin out. Then you pull in the handle a little bit, which takes this out. From this point, you can remove the spigot plunger with two O-rings on there. Then you have the faceplate with a large O-ring on the back side. After that, the whole dasher assembly slides out as one piece. On this, we have our stator rod. This is what keeps product moving from the front to the back of the machine and also holds the faceplate and dasher in place. It just slides out. Then we have our scraper blades. There are two scraper blades on this model. To remove the scraper blades, you lift them straight up and down and then lift out, because the bar here is beveled so that they will only come off when they're facing up and down. Then finally, we have the rear seal in the back. This is a two-piece rear seal. This rubber piece comes off of here for cleaning. Now that we have the unit disassembled, you can talk to the customer about cleaning the machine. You do not actually have to clean the unit during the CTS, as it comes from the factory pre-cleaned. We recommend cleaning the unit, and that means a total disassembly, cleaning by hand washing only, no dishwasher, with a mild detergent, and sanitizing every 24 hours. However, the customer may be able to go longer periods depending on their local health codes. When cleaning, you need to make sure you remove all the O-rings off of everything and clean those individually, and then let everything air dry when it's done. So now you can start showing the customer how to reassemble the machine. This also includes the steps of proper lubrication. So we'll start with the dasher first and putting the rear seal back together. What you want to do to lubricate this is run a small bead of lubricant around the shoulder of the dasher. Place the rear seal on and give it a bit of a spin. Under no circumstances do you ever want to put any lubrication on the rubber part of the rear seal. This will cause machine failure, noises, and other things that are not covered under warranty. Next, we're going to put the scraper blades back on. Those just clip in on the top and fold over. After that, we move to our stator rod, of which this slides in. There are two lubrication points for the stator rod. One is a little bit right on here, and again a little on this shoulder. You don't need to use a whole bunch of it on these parts. Those just slide in. Okay, at this point we're ready to put the dasher in the machine. The dasher slides in, like so. You want to make sure that your blades are always down. If they're up, they will not go in the machine. So blades down, slide this in. Once you hit the back of the unit, rotate it until you hear it lock in, and it goes in all the way. Now at this point we can put together our faceplate. Start with the O-ring on the back. This just goes around the outside. This O-ring does not get lubricated. It needs to stay dry. Next we will take our spigot plunger. This does get lubricated around both O-rings. You can smear this around with your finger. This helps for smooth operation of the spigot plunger. This slides in the top. Make sure you have your hole lined up at the front like this. Handle goes back in. Fast pin in, and now we have an operational faceplate. Now you're ready to put the faceplate on. Make sure that the stator rod is facing straight like that. Slide it on, push it on there tight. Then take your two knobs. As I mentioned before, they need to be tightened at the same time so that everything goes on there straight. And then tie them on there pretty tight. Now we are ready to sanitize the unit. Before you do that, you want to wipe out anything that's in the mix pan or the barrel. We do ship the units with a bit of mineral oil on them to prevent rust, so just wipe that out beforehand. Now we're going to make our sanitizer. If you're using our sanitizer, it is 1 packet of sanitizer to 2 gallons of water. I've already made this batch, so we're ready to go. Before you dump it in, you want to take your carb tube and just lay it in the pan, and then you're just going to dump the sanitizer into it. You want to watch for those bubbles in the back of the unit. That means that everything is working as it should. To sanitize the mix pan, you just take the included brush that's in the spare parts kit and you just wipe it around the pan. You just want to get the sanitizer all around the pan. Go down into the hole. Make sure the machine is not running this time. And then also, you just put some all over the lid as well. Ready? Okay. Now, you put the machine in clean out mode and let it run for 2 to 4 minutes. All right, the machine's ran long enough, so we're going to shut it down, and we are going to drain out all the sanitizer. Okay. Now that the unit has been sanitized, we are ready to charge and start the machine. First, you want to take your carb tube out of the mix pan. Next, using a sanitized cup, or if you have 2 people, 1 person can pour and 1 person can actually run the handle, but we're going to chase the sanitizer out of the unit. Not that it'll hurt you, but we try to get all that out of here first before we dump all the mix in. So once you start seeing solid mix coming out of that, you can close the handle. Now we're ready to dump the rest of our mix in. Again, you want to watch that bubbling. Okay, once the mix has stopped bubbling, then you can insert the carb tube in. So in the back here, into the hole. Now we're ready to actually start the machine up. So we come down here. Clean out is, as it states, that's what you use when you're cleaning the machine. That runs the dasher with no refrigeration. Auto or freeze will turn on the dasher and the refrigeration. So it's very important that you never run the machine unless you have mix in it in auto. If you run the machine in auto with water only, it can damage the machine. So we're ready to start the machine now. You just click the auto. Give it a minute and we'll start up and start pulling down. Okay, now that the unit has cycled off, we can pull out some product to test it and see how it looks consistency wise. Alright, so that looks like a pretty good product there. It's nice and dry and standing up well. We can do our temperature on it. For soft serve, you want to be between 18 and 20 to 21 degrees. Looks like we're right around 18.9, 19 degrees. At this point, you can present the product to the customer and see how they think it looks consistency-wise. For temperatures, we like to see soft serve between 18 and 21 degrees, frozen yogurt 17 to 20 degrees, shakes at 25 to 28 degrees, non-alcoholic frozen beverages at 25 to 28 degrees, and alcoholic frozen beverages at 16 to 19 degrees. Those are all Fahrenheit temperatures. If you do need to make an adjustment to the consistency control system, that on most models is located on the control board. This control board, and again on most models, is located in the upper front panel, of which I've already removed the cover. It is 2 screws on the bottom of the panel and the cover slides off. But to make a consistency adjustment, you want to turn off the powered machine and kill the power to the unit. Then when you look on the control panel, it is this potentiometer right here that says hardness. When you move it clockwise, that makes the product harder. Counterclockwise makes it softer. You want to make very small adjustments to this potentiometer. It's very sensitive. It's also easier to go from softer to harder when adjusting the product. So, as I mentioned, you kill the power of the machine, make a small adjustment, turn the machine back on, let it cycle once, and then take your temperature again. And then you keep doing that until you've reached a good product temperature and the customer is happy with the consistency. The last thing you want to go over with the customer is how the mix-out system works. Once the product in the mix pan drops below the mix-out sensor, the lights right here on the front of the machine will start flashing. It will flash for 3 minutes and it will also beep for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes of the more mix has not been added to the machine, that light will illuminate solid and the machine will not operate anymore until mix is added to the unit. At this point, that pretty much completes the CTS. You can go ahead and fill out the rest of the paperwork. As I said, have the customer sign it, then have your service company send that paperwork back to us. Also, you can ask the customer to have any more questions and whatnot. And also, now's a good time to place your service agency's logo on the machine so they can contact you for service and parts needs. Hope this helped you out. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or email. Our phone number here is 317-831-7030, and our email is techsupport@saniserv.com. Thanks and take care.